everyone, welcome to Faith Mother, where we discuss all things pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood, and we do it prayerfully in a way that glorifies God. Today I am coming to talk to you about something that often does not get spoken about because typically it happens before we've even gotten a chance to talk to anybody about it. Most people wait until after the first trimester to announce their pregnancy. So I didn't do that this time because I thought, hey, I am young, I have 2 healthy children, I have nothing to worry about. You see the 2 lines pop up on the test and you are thanking God and you're elated that He is trusting you with raising His precious child. And then the next moment you are either staring blankly into a doctor's face, trying to figure out the words that they're saying, or you're looking down at a bloody piece of toilet paper with a pit in your stomach. I think it is really hard for anyone to actually understand the detriment of miscarriage unless they have personally experienced it themselves. And my father actually said the most perfect words to me when he found out, and he actually mourned and experienced and supported my mother through 3 miscarriages of their own. He said, I don't want to talk about it to anybody. I don't want to hear if it's okay or that it's God's will or that everything will be okay. I just want to feel bad and mourn. Side note, please do not tell anybody that it is God's will when they're having a miscarriage. Yes, we all want God's perfect will for our lives, but it is not something that anybody really wants to hear at that moment. Now I have to say, hearing this from my father of all people was quite possibly one of the most supporting things that I heard during that time. And I had a lot of friends who were supporting me. Shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. So we all know the type of miscarriage that we see on the TV where the woman keels over in pain, or she has the blood dripping down her leg, or looks down at the bloody piece of toilet paper. But what about some of the others? And what about some of the decisions that you have to make afterwards? Let's talk about a blighted ovum or an-embryonic pregnancy. My pregnancy symptoms for my first 2 pregnancies were really intense. So this time felt just like the other ones, which I knew were symptoms and signs of a healthy pregnancy. I was exhausted beyond comparison. My nipples were sore. I was extremely nauseous and vomiting throughout my day. But hey, I knew these were all symptoms of a healthy pregnancy. One afternoon on Mother's Day of all days, I came home from church and took a nap like usual. And I woke up and all my symptoms were gone. I felt absolutely nothing, and I just instinctively knew that something wasn't right. So I went to the ER, and they basically told me that it was too early to see anything after they had done a transvaginal ultrasound. Now, my periods are basically to the day on time, and according to my last missed period, I would have been 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks. And I had seen my baby as early as 6 weeks on an ultrasound before. The next day I called my midwife, and she seemed to be just as confused as I was. And she told me to come in and they would take some blood work to measure my HCG levels. The next day, the results came back and there was not a significant drop to show that anything was actually wrong. So again, here's some more confusion. So I scheduled an OBGYN appointment where I was hoping they would give me another ultrasound, but she refused to do it because some insurance stuff. Towards the end of the week, I scheduled an OBGYN appointment, and she refused to do an ultrasound to confirm anything because they wouldn't be able to convince the insurance companies that it was necessary, and she took more blood work. On Sunday, the blood work came back. I opened my phone and that my HCG levels had risen, which would show signs of a viable pregnancy. I was elated, I was happy, and the next day I told my midwife and she was also happy. And she said I could make an appointment with the ultrasound tech, but there probably wouldn't be any spaces for 3 weeks. And she understood that I was, basically going crazy in my mind trying to figure out what was going on. And she said my other option would be to go to the ER. So I told her, hey, I've got favor with God, and I'm believing that I'm going to get right in there within the next 2 days. I called the place. She told me there wasn't an open appointment for about a month, and that she would call me if there was any cancellations. And within, I want to say, an hour, she called me back and said, hey, there's a cancellation on tomorrow. Come on in. And I was like, that's the favor of God. So I went in again, and my heart was so hopeful, and my heart sunk when we looked up at the screen and all we could see was an empty gestational sac and a yolk sac. When I got out, I called my midwife, and she began to tell me what I had already suspected, thanks to, Google, that it was a blighted ovum, or an embryonic pregnancy, or sometimes called a miscarriage. A blighted ovum is when your egg is fertilized and the embryo stops developing and essentially dissolves. The gestational sac remains empty, and the yolk sac continues to produce pregnancy hormones, which was giving me the pregnancy symptoms. And they call this sometimes a miscarriage because your body has not technically registered that it's no longer pregnant and hasn't expelled anything. So the midwife told me that my options were that I could wait another 2 weeks to see if I would naturally expel it on my own, or I could take a pill to basically induce it. I told her I wanted to wait the 2 weeks, and a week to the day later, I came home from church and had that very, stereotypical look down at my toilet paper after going to the bathroom and seeing the blood. I guess I still even had hope after that point. I just, again, could not register that something was happening until I could see something leaving my body. And it's strange because I don't think that there's any amount of preparation to get you ready for that. And no one realizes that a miscarriage could sometimes go on for weeks, and we're still expected to just carry on with normal life, going to work, taking care of our current children, running the home, all while dealing with the loss that's going on inside you. The bleeding stopped. It didn't really progress to anything until about a week later, where I started to get some really intense cramps in the evening. And in the morning, I woke up with what honestly felt like labor pains. The blood was really intense at some point. And mind you, I was at work because I think I completely exhausted my days off, and my boss was already questioning me and not really being sympathetic or empathetic really to what was going on with me. And I had to leave a few times for doctor's appointments, again, not really knowing what was actually going to happen. So essentially miscarrying while I'm at my desk, going back and forth to the bathroom, and sorry to be graphic, but passing these like huge blood clots that were like bigger than the size of golf balls. Now, I read something recently that said pain during loss is just different. And it is, because when we're experiencing that kind of pain, when we're bringing in life, it's worth it. There's a gift at the end of it. But when we're experiencing this pain on top of the sadness of that loss, it is so much harder. What I did to support my body during this time was turn to essential oils. And I remembered what I used in the birth of my son, Devinder. I used clary sage essential oil and geranium, which helps the healthy support of blood flow and the regulation of hormones. If you have had a blighted ovum miscarriage, do not let anybody downplay your loss. The pain of the loss is absolutely real. Don't let anyone tell you how to mourn. My sister, your loss is absolutely real, because I know as well as you do that the second you saw those 2 lines pop up on that test, your heart and your womb grew an attachment to that little baby for however long they were inside of you. Please be encouraged and know that it is okay to be sad and it is okay to mourn. Know that even though it may feel like your world is over, it is going to be okay. And Jesus is right there holding your hand every step of the way. Take care, Faith Mother, and may God bless you and keep you. Have faith and keep going. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.